Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, I was prepared to speak in English, but now as I see the audience, please allow me to speak in Turkish, and there will be simultaneous translation.
Dear President, Chairman, dear Minister, the parliamentary members, my colleagues, all the attendants, there have been a lot of meetings about the problems in the Middle East, and I've been in a lot of them, but I've never considered it from a religious perspective. This is the first meeting I've attended, which really goes to the deep down, the real core of it. This is the first meeting I've been, which sees it through the religious perspective. That's why I'm very happy to be here. Of course, Mr. Yakış is presiding over this meeting, and it's very important that he's here. My minister, all the religious leaders, and especially Dr. Oktar and the foundation he's representing, I would like to thank everyone. Also, Dr. Ülper and the foundation he is representing, I would like to thank all of them for bringing us together. I would like to thank them sincerely because the solution lies with these meetings. We have to look at it from a religious perspective, from a cultural perspective. Only then we can achieve peace, because there is where the problem is. My dear friends, to solve all kinds of problems, there is one of the simplest rules, and we have to simplify it, which is because things tend to get very complicated in time, and if we are carried away, we might get lost. So we have to go down to the roots. What is the root cause? My dear friends here, not only starting from 1948, maybe from the time of Prophet Moses, there have been conflicts going on for 4,000, 5,000 years, and the basis of it is coming from two points: land and security. And with the words of my Jewish brothers and sisters, yes, it is very important, because it is a small land here, and everyone has a right there. And that's such a problem. Everyone is right. This is a dilemma where there is no side that is wrong. Everyone is right. So to build a peaceful coexistence, we have to be committed to that. We have to think that this is the only way people will live there peacefully. Muslims, Jews, and the Christians. All of them will live there peacefully. This is very important. This is something we are not familiar with as Turkish people, because we are used to this multiculturalism, religious culture. We have achieved that throughout our history. And maybe as the heirs of this culture, we will be able to say something. We will be able to contribute to this peace process. We will bring the sides together. Maybe we are the only country that can bring the sides together in this conflict. And there are some conditions to fulfill before we can do that. My dear friends, I've been to Israel and Palestine. I've spent there 4 months. And I've got the opportunity to know the people and the problems there. I know as well as my own name that the two people, the Israelis and the Palestinians, had enough of war. They don't want wars anymore. They fought for so long, and they want peace now. They've been fighting for generations, and they are worried that maybe their grandchildren will not find peace too. They are born to war, and they are tired of it. And let's be realistic. Israel, for the first time, is seeing that some people are migrating out of it. Israeli people have had enough of wars. I think that I know the Israeli people. The same thing goes for the Palestinians too. Palestinians have had enough as well. They say that's enough. And And then we have to understand that we have to minimize the problems which cause the wars. The radicals of the sides are the reasons why the sides fight. But there's a famous socialist. He says the elements that make us fight are the fight trainers. The fight trainers that are outside are provoking this war. They say, okay, go on and hit. There are the fight trainers in Israel, there are the fight trainers in Palestine, and I have to admit that we have those too in Turkey as well. They are also trying to provoke this fight as the fight trainers as well. There are fight trainers in other countries too. So my dear friends, we have to find ways to minimize these fight trainers. And this goes through religion and culture. Let's look at our own culture. Emre Kocaoğlu is a grandson of the Ottomans. That's how I see myself, my friends. After Exodus, the first Jewish state in the world was founded by the Turkish people in Hazar in 9th century. The traditional Judaism doesn't accept that because they are actually of Turkish origin. But after the Exodus, the first Jewish state was founded by them. They had synagogues, they had rabbis. But this should be investigated culturally. But the official Israeli policy doesn't want that. We didn't want it too, because we didn't want a Jewish element in our history, because there were some radical elements that said this. And the Soviet Union, they also prevented this from coming out too. They also covered all those archaeological evidence. But there lies the traces of the first Jewish state in the history by the banks of the Idil. They were Turkish people. They were Jewish but Turkish people. We consider them as Turkish people. Hazar. I'm talking about Hazar. Arthur Koestler wrote this in his book. There are many books explaining this historical fact. But these are not known in Turkey, but these have to be known in Turkey so that we won't be one of those fight trainers. And there are other elements too. It's not only the Inquisition in Spain or the Jews fleeing that and coming to Ottoman for refuge. It's not only that. Then there is Yosef Nasi incident in Turkey, which is not very much known in Turkey as well. He was an beloved by the second Sultan Selim II. He brought the introduced the financial disciplinary to Ottoman Empire. He was a Jewish. He was the closest aide of the Sultan. He founded the budget, for example, the Cyprus Island. He knew that Cyprus Island would be a very strategic piece of land in the future. So he advised that the Ottomans should take it and made sure that Cyprus became Muslim. This is not known in Turkey. They don't teach it in history books, but these facts have to be known. So my dear friends, there are other things too. In the 17th century, there is a musician, Alifki, who lived in the 17th century. We owe our classical Turkish music to him because he built the foundation basis of the Ottoman music. So we have all those fathers of our music. They all owe their music to Alifki, who is a Jewish person from Poland. His name was Albertus Boborski. He came from a Jewish family. He was a Protestant Jewish. So that combination built a very beautiful Ottoman music. For example, let's go on. Today Muslims know very closely Murat III.
güftesi atfedilen. Uyan ey gözlerim,
Uyan,
gafletten uyan
there's a song titled Uyan Ey Gözlerim,
şarkısı vardır.
which is
Dini
said to be
musikimizin
written by Sultan
şaheserlerindendir. Bunun
Mustafa III.
notalarını bize aktaran Ali Ufki'dir.
Ali Ufki
Bunun bir
composed
daha
that.
çok
And there are
ilahi
many
Ali
other
Ufki
hymns that he
besteleri.
composed.
Ve Ali Ufki
And Ali Ufki
mezmurlar adı altında bunları bize
wrote all those compositions based
ulaştırmıştır.
on Torah, which
Mezmur, Tevrat'taki, Ahdiyakit'teki
name of a
psalm.
section in Torah, Psalms.
Yani biz musikimizi Ali Ufki adlı
So we owe our
ve
Turkish
Uyan
music
Eyle
to this
protestan
Ali Ufki, a Jewish person,
referansıyla yazdığı kitaba bakın.
which he wrote, which he composed based on Psalms.
Ama bunlar da bilinmez.
But these are not known in Turkey.
Bu da bizim kültürel alyenizm, fanatizmimizin bir sonucu.
And that's a result of our cultural radicalism, which is a mistake. We have to move past that. If we are talking about culture, then we have to know these things. Our culture is loving you, Jewish, Palestinians, all of you. Our culture is the one that will embrace you and understand you the best. And based on this culture, maybe we can say to the sides that stop fighting. You can live peacefully on these lands. We can be that country. We can be that. The sides are afraid of each other there. The lands and fear. Both sides are afraid that the other side is going to kill me. That's what they are afraid of. No one is going to kill each other. It's all in the past. If we can tell the sides that no one is intended to exterminate each other, and if we can see that, if we can make sure that they identify, they can see the fight trainers, then we can be successful, and we should. And I think that the Turkish people can do that. Turkish people is fit to do that. That's why Turkey plays a key role. Turkey is a key country. Everyone can benefit from this key role of Turkey for the peace process. You might say that, but what about the words of the prime minister or the minister or whatever? They're all politics, political consumption. They are just statements set for political consumption, domestic consumption. Don't worry about that. Everyone says that, but your prime minister said this, and we say that Paul Max said that, that's why. And then it keeps going on like this. And another person says that just forget about the history, let's move on. We are maybe the only nation that can bring the sides together and get them shake hands. We have that culture and experience. Are you on board? I'm asking two sides. If you accept, if you are willing, okay, then there are conditions and let's go ahead. How? Through these meetings, through religious leaders. May Allah be pleased with you, Mr. Oktar, for organizing this conference. Through religious exchange, you can deal with everything. Jerusalem is maybe the biggest problem. It can be solved only with religious leaders coming together and shaking hands and putting aside their differences. Another concrete suggestion I have is that maybe the temple of Prophet Solomon. Underneath that, there are excavations going on. Israel is doing that. They are rightfully doing that because they are doing it for cultural reasons. But it is causing problems, and the Muslims are right to be concerned about that because that's a Muslim side. They are excavating that place. That's a very important thing for the archaeologists to get the Turkish archaeologists there as well, get the Turkish artists there as well, do the excavation together. Archaeology has no religion, no race, no nation. Then we can be assured that the Muslim side will not be harmed by the excavations there. That joint commission could ensure that no harm comes to the Muslim side. That's a cultural cooperation. That's another example of cultural cooperation. As I said, Ali Ufki, Alberto Bobovius, he wrote many compositions. He composed many music for the Turkish sultans. We can promote all these facts. We can promote the fact that the first Jewish state was the Hazars. Let's promote the Hazar state, the first Jewish state, which was of Turkish origin. Let's do some archaeologic, historical investigations promoting that. That's a cultural contribution. In addition to that, we can have Turkish, Israel journalists, the youth from both sides, the unions. For example, once upon a time there was a very good relations between the Turkish unions and the Israeli unions. Let's start that. Let's start over. We can do that. And after that, I would like to conclude my words with the final note. My friends, you should know that, of course, I'm not speaking on behalf of the whole Islamic world, but I think I can speak for Turkey. The only difference we have between us and the Israelis is the difference between Aleyküm Selam and Shalom. That's the only difference we have. That's simple as that. And we have the potential to use that for peace. I'm very glad that you are here. You came. Thank you very much. You honored us. But let's take it further. We should move forward with this cultural cooperation so that the people should see that they are actually very close to each other. Thank you very much.